Hello. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Harmony Nice, and today I am going to be doing an Enchanted Endeavors episode. That's right, you heard it. Harmony finally got off her goddamn arse and recorded an Enchanted Endeavors episode. And let me tell you, for some reason, I am the happiest that I've ever been right now. So yes, I freaking told you. We're all like, Enchanted Endeavors, it disappeared forever, it's never gonna come back. Guess what? It's back, it's here, we're happy, joyous occasion. Be nice. Now that I've actually brought this back for you, because I'm out of practice of these Enchanted Endeavors episodes, so I hope this isn't shit, to be honest. Shit. Today I'm going to be talking about pendulums and my personal take on pendulums, on how to use them. This is a pretty basic subject that I have literally been talking about for years and kind of been doing for years and years and years. Since I was probably about 14, I've been using a pendulum. But I thought I'd kind of get a simple subject to kick back the Enchanted Endeavors episodes for you guys. So for you guys who do not know what Enchanted Endeavors is a series all about Wicca, learning about the basics to do with Wicca to kind of get you started in Wicca if you have no idea what Wicca is all about. We talk about divination, we talk about deities. We've already spoken about all the holidays on my channel before. So it's for anybody who would like to learn Wicca or is just interested in Wicca in general. I do also, shameless promo, I have a book on Wicca. That's right, it's called Wicca, The Modern Guide to Witchcraft and Magic. I don't know why I'm speaking like this today. I'm like being an arsehole. Taurus season! Yes, I do also have a book on Wicca if you are really interested and would like to learn about it. It is now out in the US of A. So if you would like to kind of read more about Wicca, I do have a book on it. Also, I have a whole entire big series on my channel. I have 21 episodes all about witchcraft and Wicca. So if you're super interested in it, you can go purchase my book. It's on Amazon. The link will be in the description down below. Pendulums are something that I didn't go super into depth with in my book. I did touch on them briefly in the divination section. So it's something that I wanted to talk to you guys about today since it has had a lot of requests. So today I want to talk about what pendulums are, why you would use them, and also a tutorial and my personal take on how to use a pendulum. As I say before I start any of my Enchanted Endeavors episodes, this is just my personal take on this specific subject. Obviously a lot of people are going to have different ways on doing this and using pendulums and speaking about pendulums. This form of divination is to them. This is also a very basic. This is for beginners. That's what my Enchanted Endeavors episodes are all about. They are for beginners. I wanted to create this series to introduce people to Wicca and help people in their first kind of steps towards Wicca. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's just jump right into it. So what is a pendulum? The pendulum, as you know it, comes from so many different cultures and has been used in so many different religions, not just Wicca and not just to do with witchcraft, but it also does come in a lot of different practices and spiritual practices too, and from a lot of different religions too, and used in different elements of things there. Typical pendulum, as you may know it, is a pointed object on the end of a chain or a string. It is typically crystals. The one that you usually do see are probably going to be crystals, but it can be metal, it can be wood. I've seen loads and loads of metal ones, loads of wood, and some people even use necklaces and things like that. And some people may have many, like some people may have many tarot decks or many different cups that they use for tasseography. Unlike a lot of forms of divination, it is a very simple method, but it can be extremely hard to get used to and to actually put into practice and work, I guess. It was so simple for me. I got used to it very quickly. I think it's probably because I practice a lot of meditation, so I'm pretty good at getting my subconscious mind to take over and it to work. And it is very simple. So all you are doing when you are working with a pendulum is you would use the pendulum and record which way it swings in order to gain your results. So yes, before you ask, the pendulum does move by itself, depending on what the answer is. Some people believe that the pendulum is moved by a spirit guide, and some people believe that the pendulum is moved by just energy that you manifest. There's so many different beliefs to why people believe that the pendulum does move. Some people believe that it is controlled by deceased loved ones and things like that. There's so many different takes on why they believe that the pendulum moves without you necessarily moving your arm to move the pendulum. One of the most common beliefs is that when your subconscious mind takes over, basically like how a lot of people believe in tarot cards, that you already kind of know the answers to things, but it's kind of your subconscious brain guiding you through these in order to gain your results and in order to put things in a bird's eye view so you can see everything laid out flat. Whereas with the pendulum, it's believed that we already know the answers to the questions that we are asking, to the queries that we are asking, and we already know everything like that, even if it's like deep in our subconscious. And what it is doing is either we are gathering this manifesting this energy, or our subconscious brain is taking over and it is sending a little kind of like burst of nerve signals into our hand in order to move the pendulum. Because if you've ever used a pendulum before and you've got it to work, you know that you don't move your hand basically when you're trying to do it. So you don't sit there and go like that, or you don't sit there and go like that and make it move. It does just kind of naturally move by itself. You don't move your hands, and you train it that way in order to work without you moving your hands basically. Sounds kind of crazy, but just keep watching the vid. Your brain, it needs to train the pendulum to decide which way to move in order to give you these results. So why would you use a pendulum within Wicca or in anything else? There are so many different reasons why you would use the pendulum, especially within Wicca, especially if you are somebody that practices things like this or practices any type of spirituality in general. Much like all divination, the pendulum can be used for things like future prediction or gaining insight into situations or things that you may need to just in life in general. Anything that you may need help with within your life, much like you would use for tarot cards or tasseography or anything like that. But the best thing about using a pendulum is that they do give you a straight yes or no answer, which makes them very, very easy to use and very, very straightforward. But like I said, it is just the kind of getting used to using them, which is the hard part. Pendulums are great things for decision making, especially when you kind of need quick decision making or really anything in your life. Some people just love to use the pendulum. Some people don't even use their tarot cards, and they do just use the pendulum to kind of help them with different elements of their life and to gain a bit more insight. But I guess tarot cards kind of can go deeper within things and help you realize more. But these are so good. But I know so many people that do just love working with the pendulum. You can also use your pendulum to help you with other practices within Wicca. For example, when it comes to other forms of divination like tarot cards, I actually use the pendulum sometimes if I want to help focus on a specific card and I'm not sure what card to focus on and what card to meditate with or anything like that. Sometimes I will just use my pendulum and let my pendulum guide me to the correct card. I will ask the question of saying, which card should I focus on? And then, you know, it will swing a specific way. Or I may ask, should I focus on this one? And it will swing yes or no. Some people even use pendulums as a form of necromancy. I have been to a seance before where they have actually used the pendulum in order to ask people or deceased loved ones questions. I've seen people use pendulums to read their energy. So diverse, and there's so much that you can do with them. What I want to teach you today is literally just how to use it basically for your divination practices. The main reason that people seem to use the pendulum is to make decisions. In order to do this, you have to connect with your subconscious mind. Much like tarot cards, a lot of people believe that we already know the answers that we are seeking, but sometimes we just need to get them out of our subconscious and get them out and lay them in front of us in order to realize the answers to our questions. Which is the reason a lot of people believe that it swings different way for different answers, because they believe that your mind already knows what the answer is. You are not consciously moving your hand to make it swing a specific way. No matter what you believe in it, you do not sit there and like swing it a specific way. So how do you use your pendulum? So firstly, if you do not have a pendulum, you need to obviously buy a pendulum, and choosing your pendulum is kind of like choosing your other lot of divination tools. So much like tarot cards, people do choose their pendulums pretty carefully. It is important that you find a pendulum that you specifically like to work with and that you feel kind of connected to. Now, what I would personally recommend doing is going to a crystal shop or somewhere that may sell pendulums and just having a feel of them and finding one that feels right to you. But I know that's not possible for everybody, since a lot of places don't have crystal shops. I mean, I couldn't imagine living in a non-hippie town. So if not, you know, you can look online and find them online. They do sell them pretty easy online. And if you're really stuck and you really want one that you connect to, I would recommend going for one that has a crystal on the end of it that you feel specifically connected to, or maybe possesses elements that you would like to focus on within your pendulum work. Some people have lots of different pendulums for lots of different types of reading. For example, if they want to do pendulum reading for love and they want to ask like questions specifically about love, they might have a rose quartz pendulum. Now, some people only have one pendulum, like me. I only have one pendulum. I think I had like one ages ago for a little bit that I just didn't work with very well. You can make your own pendulums too, but Hearty Life has a really good tutorial on how to make your own pendulum that I will link down below. Or, you know, if there's a specific type of wood or metal that you feel like you work really well with, a great deal of connection to, then I would just go for that pendulum. They're really quite inexpensive as well, so if you do get one that you don't really feel like you work that well with, then you can always get another one. This is my pendulum. So my pendulum is a piece of pointed amethyst, and then it has a little bit of red tourmaline at the top, and it has this really nice detailing on it. I love my pendulum so much. It's so cute, so adorable, just the wicker thing. I work really well with amethyst. It's an extremely calming stone, and I feel like within my readings, whether it be to do with tarot cards or anything like that, or I just want to use the pendulum on the everyday, I like to be around a stone that is quite calming, since I am quite a, if you've noticed, mental person. Like, this was sent to me a while back when I was like, I think I'm gonna get a new pendulum. This one actually kind of came to me, and I just remember being in love with it and being like, so once you've got your pendulum, before anything else, I would recommend cleansing your pendulum, just because no matter where you have been sitting, your pendulum is going to be collecting energy. Even if it's just been in a warehouse or anything like that, and it's brand new, I would definitely recommend just going and cleansing your pendulum. I've explained this so many times. If you have seen my Enchanted Endeavors episodes before, I apologise. You can cleanse it using smoke if you use sage or incense. You can just run it through there if you'd like. Just do that a couple of times. If it is okay to use in water, you can drag it through like a pure stream. And then what I would recommend doing after that is then getting it used to your energy. So you want to charge it with your energy, much like you would do with tarot cards. I would recommend carrying your pendulum with you in like a little pouch. That's something that I do when I'm getting used to tools in general, is just carry them with you, get them used to your energy, get them used to your patterns, especially with crystals, because they pick up loads and loads of vibrations. I also sleep with them underneath my pillow. Also just use them as much as you can. Use it as absolutely much as you can to get it used to your energy. If you aren't going to use it a day, then I would recommend kind of rubbing it with your hands. If you practice Wicca, keep it at your altar, because your altar is kind of where you're centered, is where your being is. It's a place where you go to relax and things like that, if you have one. And after a while, you'll be able to work with your pendulum without even thinking about it, and without having to kind of keep charging it and rubbing it all the time and keeping it with you all the time. And it will just be naturally kind of connected to you, like this one is to me and like my tarot cards are to me. I don't even have to kind of do anything with them for ages, and you can kind of just like leave them around, and then you'll just be able to pick them up and use them again because they're so used to your energy. So now, how to actually use your pendulum. Now, if you haven't ever used a pendulum, which I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you haven't used a pendulum before, or you are kind of still new to using a pendulum, one of the main focuses of what you want to do is kind of let your subconscious mind take over. Kind of want it to like flow naturally, like you would be if you were like reading your tarot cards. You kind of just pull them out naturally. You can think about it, you know, you can think about your actions and everything like that, but the kind of main goal of it is kind of to be almost like not like meditating, kind of letting your subconscious flow so that it kind of naturally falls into it, not thinking, oh shit, like which way is it gonna go, which can be very hard to do at the start, and I completely understand that. I didn't have any problem with it at the start, which is say like, oh, I didn't have any problem, like, well done, Harmony, like, come on. A lot of people take quite a while to get used to it. So if you do have kind of trouble almost like kind of getting to that subconscious kind of meditative state, and you need some help with it, you can try some visualizing. I have a video on spell work that kind of talks about visualizing in that. I also speak about it in my book. Or you can even try meditating before doing that. I know it's quite excessive and you won't want to do it all the time because pendulums are quite quick workers, or some people take a while to do pendulum work and things like that. I know I do sometimes. Yeah, you could maybe even do like a couple of minutes of meditation, or you could do some visualizing techniques, just taking a few seconds to kind of let your subconscious mind take over before using your pendulum, so you can kind of relax with it a little bit. But don't worry at the start if you really can't get a hold of it and you can't get it to move or anything like that without trying to. It may just take a bit of practice. So the next step, once you have kind of got into that place, or you know, you've just picked up your pendulum, is now you need to figure out what the yes and the no is with your pendulum. Yes or no could potentially be absolutely any movement when it comes to your pendulum, but what you're looking for is the same movement for the answer that you want each time. So you want a same movement for yes, and you want a same movement for no. So I'm not going to do it, obviously, because I don't think it's going to be working when I'm just kind of chatting to you guys. So for example, yes needs to be one consistent movement and no needs to be another consistent movement. So for an example, if I was like to say to the pendulum, show me yes, so yes is going that way, show me no, and no is going from side to side. So yes, for me on this one is going back and forwards, and no is going from side to side. So that would be my movement, and that tends to be my common movement which happens. So they could go in a circle, sometimes one of them will go clockwise and some of them will go anti-clockwise. Again, it's not a movement that you are doing. You are letting your subconscious mind take over, and the pendulum is flowing naturally. No matter how you kind of think it is moving, it is not moving with your movement. So typically once you find that pattern, it does seem to stay at that pattern. That could be your pattern the rest of your time, basically, like with your pendulum. But sometimes it does change. It's important to ask before every reading what yes and no is. I always just ask out loud, tell me what yes is, and then tell me what no is. And then it's important to remember what those movements are and almost confirm in your brain that they are the movements that you are going to be using. Sometimes there is an inconclusive one, which there can be a yes and a no. You can even ask for I don't know, but usually the I don't know one you will notice and it's just like a random movement and it's just maybe like inconclusive. And I would recommend saying out loud what yes and no is. I would also recommend asking the questions out loud, but some people just prefer not to. It's kind of really up to you. Once you have found your yes or your no answer, that is what is going to stay as for your duration of the reading. So just remember which way it goes for yes, which way it goes for no, whether it be a circle, back and forwards, front to back, no matter what it is, just remember that specific move, and then whichever way that it chooses to go during the reading, that is what your answers to your questions and your insights will be. Again, I cannot state enough that you are not moving the pendulum yourself, you are letting the pendulum move by itself. No matter how you may see that, you are not consciously moving the pendulum. Again, I know there's going to be a lot of questions about which hand that you use. Typically, I would just say whichever hand you feel most comfortable holding with, but I would always recommend using it on your less dominant hand, so the one that you do not write with. That's what I personally would recommend, but I always hold it with this hand. It just feels so much better with this hand specifically. It's completely up to you before you guys ask. So the last step, and seriously just to prove how simple using the pendulum is ask your questions. The pendulum is absolutely amazing for kind of asking more specific questions, because if you like to just do like general readings with tarot cards and things like that, I guess if you want just like a straight answer to a question, the pendulum is absolutely amazing. If you do not have many questions to ask your pendulum to begin with, but you would like to kind of get used to it, you can literally ask the most simple questions there is. Hello, Editing Harmony here. So I thought I would just quickly hop in because I didn't actually give an intro for this part because I didn't know I was going to do it. But I just quickly included a very quick tutorial of an example of what actually using a pendulum would be. This is not me actually doing it. This is not me actually doing the process what I would usually do while using a pendulum, because I'm on camera. This is purely just for tutorial purposes and to show you how to actually what to actually do while using a pendulum, because it kind of hit me. If you have no idea what a pendulum is and you're just watching this video and you have no idea what it's all about, you might not even know how to hold it, you might not know how to use it in any sense. So I thought I'd just include this quick kind of tutorial part just to kind of show you how to actually use the pendulum and how to actually hold it instead of just talking about what it's all about. That's what this part of the video is for. It's just a quick little clip I thought I'd include here, just so you know how to use it. Enjoy the rest of the video. Say yes. Say no. Will it rain this week? Will it be warm this week? Again, try to use it as frequently as possible at the start and just get it used to you. And then when you kind of get more down to the more serious questions, then your pendulum will be ready for you to use. Sometimes at the start, the swings can be very little, but it's still important to keep at it and keep going. Sometimes your pendulum might not work at all completely, but you do just need to kind of keep going at it, and you will kind of naturally work. It's also very important to only ask your pendulums yes or no answer questions, because you can't sit there and be like, can you tell me about, you know, my relationship with Jimmy, because, you know, the pendulum's going to be like, no, because it can't. But if you are just using the pendulum as a standalone object, there is ways that you can get more questions and answers from the pendulums. There's lots of different things that you could use if you'd like the pendulum just to navigate you towards things. There's also such things as pendulum charts, which you can either make yourself, The way that you can make it is yourself is if you just write out a question at the bottom of the pendulum chart, mark where you like to place the pendulum, and then write all the answers to what your question could possibly be. Make it yourself, and then whichever way your pendulum may swing towards the answer of the question would be the answer to your question. There's lots and lots of things that you can also get online that are different types of pendulum charts. You can literally Google them and find pendulum charts, and it can help you answer more, you know, greater things like that when it comes to the pendulum. I think there's even books that have pendulum charts in if you would be interested in something like that. So it's really as simple as that. You ask your pendulum, you train it to find the yes and the no direction, and then you ask your pendulum your specific yes or no questions that you would like, and it will help you find those insights to the questions that you have. It's really, really important also to remember, like with the tarot cards and like with any other form of divination, to not keep asking the same questions again and again and again, because it will not work. You may just keep answering yes, yes, and no, no. Don't just keep asking and expecting a different answer, because it will just give you inconclusive results. You have to just trust your form of divination. Also, what I like to do when it comes to the pendulum is I just kind of like to let it flow. Some people, what they like to do is write down all their questions before they do the pendulum. Some people may just want to ask it from the top of their head, and some people like to stop and record as they go. But what I personally do is kind of just flow with it naturally, ask all the questions that I would like to ask it, ask all the questions that I would like to, and then I just hold it in my hand, hold it tight, and then pop it back to where it belongs. And then I will probably record the answers to my questions that I've got afterwards. But again, you can just kind of stop and start and do it. No, kind of whatever feels naturally. The whole kind of point in more divination and what you're doing is to kind of get that natural flow, and it will work so much better once you do that. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed this Enchanted Endeavors episode. I haven't done one of these in so long, and I know this isn't like a huge in-depth thing, but I did just want to kind of do something quite light hearted and just kind of easy to get back into Enchanted Endeavors, since I've been so nervous to do them. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of helped any of you who may be curious about pendulums. I hope it kind of gave you a bit more of an in-depth tutorial on how to use a pendulum and what they're kind of all about and how they work. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video, which actually will be another Wicca related one. God, you Wiccans, you're loving it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.